Drop 100 on the DJ, play some 90s R&B. Every day a different form when you ride and shop with me. I can take you to the mansion, hit a yacht and have a drink. You been California dreaming, close your eyes and don't you blink. Drop 100 on the DJ, play some 90s R&B. Every day a different form when you ride and shop with me. I can take you to the mansion, hit a yacht and have a drink. You been California dreaming, close your eyes and don't you blink. Let me sweep you off your feet, we do London for a week. Really ain't the one for waiting, but my presence make you leap. And it's ain't just about your body, want your mind and then your sheets. I don't fuck with none of these bitches, if I want you it's for keeps. I can show you how I'm living, take care of you like my peeps. Fly you out to Carolina, I can listen while you speak. You want Fendi, hear some cheddar, cause I know you ain't no leech. It don't make the problem better, but put a smile up on your cheeks. When I fuck up in that pussy, I make love like it's a treat. Cause I really say the moment for the times that we can't beat. Sleeping in my Texas tea, cause you said it smell like me. When I'm overseas, you callin', see my face and it's relief. She ain't used to money calling, all her niggas always beef. Off-white and Lil Prada, I want diamonds in my teeth. She ain't used to gangsta loving, kiss her toes and let me eat. I can give you your desire, cut you off and set you free. Drop 100 on the DJ, play some 90s. What's the good old big deal with the good old people? You know what I'm saying? We about to get right off into it. So y'all know, this is that work. You know what I'm saying? This is the official paperwork. You know what I'm saying? This is page, you know what I'm saying, 18 of that official paperwork. As I said, I went through 5 and 17 yesterday. So right now, we on that dispensary, you know what I'm saying, marijuana robbery that we've been hearing of, you know what I'm saying? And people like Luce Cannon in secondhand and spoke of being a part of and things like that. This is that thing that I told you that may get Luce Cannon in trouble. I see Luce Cannon getting in a lot of trouble, like by the chin of his chinny chin hair. I see something might not happen. You know what I'm saying? If he hits the right yard, you know what I'm saying, where nothing is going on in, or, you know what I'm saying, the population is overridden, you know what I'm saying, by PC and the wrong things, to where the small percentage of solid people, you know what I'm saying, they trying to go undetected. So let's get right off into it, you know what I'm saying? Page 18. For years, members and associates of the Big U enterprise extorted victims through actual and threats and force, violence and fear of intimidation. Overt act no 36. For years, defendant Henley extorted victims. Victim 1, a music and club promoter who transitioned into a partnership, an unlicensed marijuana dispensary located in Los Angeles. The dispensary for up to $25,000 per month in extortion fees, until victim 1 started to ignore defendant Henley calls. Overact. Okay, so let's just stop it right there. So basically, that's this guy, you know what I'm saying? His name is going to come up. I don't want to slip in or say the wrong name, but I think this is the guy that a lot of people been talking about. 600 and a few other guys had threw his name out here. I think the guy name may be Dale, you know what I'm saying? We gonna see if we got a picture of this Dale guy, you know what I'm saying, to post. But if not, you know what I'm saying, that is the guy, you know what I'm saying, I guess that Big U was allegedly extorting, you know what I'm saying? So dude looked like he had like a few dealings in the streets, you know what I'm saying, and then try to, you know what I'm saying, get the medical marijuana dispensary. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, it was somewhere in, or, you know, Big U found a twist and turn to where he can tax him, you know what I'm saying? So he was taxing him for $25,000 a month, allegedly. And that is a big sum, you know what I'm saying, to where dude, I know he was taking the loss and or feeling the loss, to where he was like, man, I got to start ignoring these phone calls and try to recuperate from some of these $25,000, you know what I'm saying, tax rates, you know what I'm saying, I'm going through. Overly Act No 37. On July 5th, 2021, when victim 1 had been ignoring defendant Henley's calls demanding extortion payments, defendant Robinson, Big U enterprise member and self-proclaimed Rolling 60s, Tremaine Ashley Williams, aka Luce Cannon Williams, and approximately 9 other individuals, all acting at defendant Henley's directions, traveled to the dispensary and committed a robbery. So there it is right there. We got Mr. Tremaine. His name finally came up. So this is in factual the robbery that Tremaine Williams got on No Jumper and whatever other platforms he was on and speaking about. You know what I'm saying? So it looked like this robbery ring to be true. It looked like this Dale guy and or victim one, who was also cooperating with the federal authorities, you know what I'm saying, and letting them know Big U moves and stuff like that. They was already cooperating, you know what I'm saying, and telling, you know what I'm saying, not even knowing that this dude was already in bed with the feds and giving Big U marked money, you know what I'm saying, from the feds. The money probably had been stopped coming from him to where he located and got in business with the feds and told the feds, look, like this man is taxing me outrageously. So I don't even think Dale probably went to the authorities initially to tell on Big U. It looked like Dale is a guy that's in the streets, you know what I'm saying, that's in the street life, and Dale might have had some dealings that caught him a case in or got him hooked into with the feds. And like the feds always do, one hand washes the other. We can't get you and you don't want to be, you know what I'm saying, the guy that's going down. What do you have to give us? Can you offer us something bigger than you? And that's how it go. And it looked like the something that bigger than him was Big U. Overt act no number 38. On July 5th, 2021, defendant Robinson, Williams, and others known and unknown to the grand jury stole products, cash, and multiple personal items from those in the dispensary, including victim one. Overt act 39. On July 5th, 2021, shortly after the robbery, the robbery of victims one dispensary, defendant Henley invited victim one to defendant Henley home, where defendant Henley, Williams, and other robbers were present, and many of the items robbed from the dispensary were on display. Overt act number 40. On July 5th, 2021, at defendant's Henley home, robbers and the items robbed from victim's dispensary were present. Defendant Henley told victim one, that's how you rob yourself. So as we see right here, those is pages 18, it's pages 18 and 19. So it looked like allegedly Big U allowed in or had these guys to put down this robbery after he robbed the guy in or the guys that participated in the robbery, name said already, you know what I'm saying? They went back and took these items allegedly to one of Big U residents. Big U then in return called the dude, had the dude come over and showed the dude the items. Like, look, this is how you rob yourself. You playing games with me, you stop them extortion payments, this is what's going to happen until them payments get back on track or we can figure something out. And right there in plain person, Tremaine Williams, Luce Cannon, allegedly, he told this story. Now this story is in the paperwork being corroborated by the victim himself. Cold game. It ain't nothing but 2-3 racks, to which Blanton responded. Brick Baby said, whoa, hold on. Did we go too far? Yeah, we went too far. So Brick Baby is in fact in this. Excuse me. Overt act number 41. On July 5th, 2021, at defendant's Henley home, which the robbers and the items robbed from victims one dispensary present. Defendant Henley returned a portion of the robbery proceeds to victim one and told victim one that he would need to pay $10,000 to prevent future robberies. Overt act number 42. On July 5th, 2021, at defendant's Henley home with the robbers and the items robbed from victims one dispensary present, defendant Henley directed victim one to identify other marijuana businesses that they could similarly rob and offer to provide victim one with a portion of the robbery proceeds from the target victim identified. Now, if any of this is true, this is stupidity at its highest level. So here you are taxing this dude allegedly, and then after you tax him, give him some of his items back and tell him that you're going to need 10 racks to continue operating. He then goes on and allegedly asks this dude, like, man, do you got any other marijuana dispensaries that we could do the same thing to? And maybe you can recuperate from some of the losses that I'm taxing you on. You allowed this man to come to your house allegedly, and you discussed business with this man, not even knowing this man was an informant. Over at Note 43 on November 11, 22, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley and Big U Enterprises member, self-proclaimed Rolling 60 member Zaire Mitchell, aka Brick Baby. Mitchell coordinated how Mitchell would give defendant Henley the proceeds from a robbery that Mitchell committed. Over at number 44 on November 11, 2022, in an intercepted call and text message while defendant Henley talked with Big U Enterprises Association, Frederick Blanton Jr., Blanton and defendant Robertson to help defendant Henley collect from Mitchell. Associate Blanton said they robbed a nigga for some shit. They made a nigga call his plug and then they booked him. To which defendant Henley responded, I'ma grab half of that. Whatever he got them. I'ma give it to Vay. And Vay can bring it to the rest of you. Over at number 45 on November 11, 2022, in an intercepted call, defendant Henley can be heard counting and stating that it ain't nothing but 2 or 3 racks, to which Blanton responded, Brick Baby said it was supposed to be between 5 to 7. Man, gotta make that call out to Brick, man. Cold game. So, man, look like right here that for sure that from what this paperwork say, that Brick Baby was being extorted. So, allegedly, this man was operating over majority of the 60s and or at least the people who was weak links and or people like that allowed things to let this happen, because what I don't understand as a gangster in your own right, Brick out here, Brick Baby hit a lick. I hit a lick, come up upon some cash. How the hell am I going to let you call in to me, big homie, and not like, hey, yeah, I heard you hit that lick. You called somebody and made they plug bring the get down? Yeah, I need half of that, or I need, you know what I'm saying, a portion of what you hit for. Bruh, this robbery do not got nothing to do with you. This ain't no robbery you set up from what we see in or know. You know what I'm saying? So what the hell am I paying you for just because you an older homie from the set? Man, yeah, this is clown activity for sure. This is clown activity for sure. Okay, so where we at? Let me put that over there. All right. Over at number 46 on March 3rd, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley described the modest operandi of the Big U Enterprise robberies, which included robbing individuals but not taking everything from them so they could continue to work, be robbed, identify other robbery targets, and buy the stolen items back from the Big U Enterprise. Defendant Henley and Robinson continue to extort victims, one and others. Act number 47. On July 9th, 2021, defendant Henley tasked victim 1 with the identifying additional robbery victims for defendant Henley and Robinson. Over Act number 48. On July 9th, 2021, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that although victim 1 had paid a portion of his extortion money debt to defendant Henley, victim 1 had not paid all of it. Over Act number 49. On August 6, 2021, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Robinson told victim 1, try lick somebody. That ain't even hard. UI, all this shit, this ain't working, man. I'm like, man, I'm in the wrong business, homie. Over Act number 50. On September 2nd, 2021, defendant Henley told victim 1 that any proceeds victim 1 received from a separate business owner must be paid to defendant Henley. Over Act number 51. On September 3rd, 2021, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that defendant Henley defendant Robinson needed to tell defendant Henley something about victim 1 outstanding extortion debt, and to please defendant Henley, victim 1 said that he would pay either $500 or $1,000. So it looked like that right here, you know what I'm saying? Big U continuously trying to put the squeeze on this guy, you know what I'm saying? This victim 1, allegedly, whoever he is and stuff like that. The $25,000 he was able to pay in the beginning, he's no longer to pay that, you know what I'm saying? It peaked and ran and went from when he was able to pay that. So now it's like he's trying to look around and help Big U out with other robberies, you know what I'm saying? To make up, you know what I'm saying, for this debt or alleged debt that he owed, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Big U allegedly got his minions running behind him, handling these payments and things like that. Overact number 52. On September 15, 2021, defendant Robertson demanded payment from victim 1 for defendant Henley, but stated that he would allow victim 1 to pay the following day. Overact number 53. On September 20th, 2021, defendant Henley and victim 1 discussed how the portions of an extortion payment would be divided between defendant Henley and Robinson, the rolling 60s, and victim 1. Overact number 54. On September 20th, 2021, defendant Robinson discussed with victim 1 how defendant Robinson and Henley were taxing victim 1. Overact no 55. On September 23rd, 2021, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley expressed his frustration that victim 1 and another extortion victim, a local businessman, were not paying their extortion payments to Big U Enterprises. Overact no 56. On October 19, 2021, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley told victim 1 that defendant Henley was taking over the extortion of business owner and taking the profits from every fifth table sold out the establishment. Overact no 57. On October 2022-21, defendant Henley asked victim 1 why victim 1 was calling defendant Henley instead of paying his extortion debt. Overact number 58. On October 22nd, 2021, defendant Robinson provided victim 1 a phone number for Big U Enterprises associates to send electronic extortion payments. Overact no 59. On November 10th, 2021, defendant Henley directed victim 1 to start running an illegal marijuana shop to pay rent to the Big U Enterprises. So right here, you know, it looks like they're going over after all the times that they were documenting that taxes were being paid in or going on, or payments was being scheduled. You know what I'm saying? And the in-between, the conversations, I can't pay it, or you better pay it, this gonna happen. And then it looked like, you know what I'm saying, even besides the illegal things that was going on, that allegedly Big U had his hands in taxing, you know what I'm saying, a few legal businesses, you know what I'm saying? And that definitely would get you that mafia charge to get you on them folks' level, you know what I'm saying? For sure, for sure. Overact number 60. On November 29, 2021, defendant Robinson directed victim 1 to pay defendant Henley $1,000 on a weekly basis. Overact no 61. On November 29, 2021, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley asked victim 1 where another extortion victim lived so the defendant Robinson and Henley could fuck him up. Overact no 62. On November 29, 2021, victim 1 paid defendant Henley a $500 extortion payment. Overact no 63. On December 11, 2021, defendant Robinson asked victim 1 how much extortion money victim 1 had for defendant Henley and stated that defendant Henley was going to want at least $1,000. Overact no 64. On December 17, 2021, defendant Robinson asked defendant 1 how much extortion money victim 1 would have and discussed cash and electronic payments. Overact no 65. On December 8, 2021, defendant Robinson again asked victim 1 how much extortion money victim 1 would have. Overact no 66. On January 20th, 2022, defendant Robinson extorted $1,000 cash from victim 1 for defendant Henley in the Big U Enterprise. Overact no 67. On February 17, 2022, victim 1 requested an extension from defendant Robinson regarding an extortion payment, and defendant Robinson told him he had been holding defendant Henley off already. Overt Act No. 68 on February 17, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson $1,000 extortion fee. So these is this extortion payments and stuff like that, going back and forth with the extortion payments. It looked like the feds already involved in here, being that they got all these dates documented, and it looked like that was actually the feds playing and telling him like, hey, say I can't pay this week, or say I can't do that, to get a reaction out of Big U, to get more title wiretaps, and him talking about like, oh, what do you mean? Oh, I'm gonna go do this, I'm gonna do stuff like that. So that's a game that they was playing and stuff like that. Furthermore, let's get back into this content. You know what I'm saying? We almost there. I'm seeing Wack100 name and all type of stuff in this thing. So let's go ahead and get off into it. Overt Act No. 69 on February 19, 2022, defendant Henley called victim 1 and demanded $1,500 real quick. Overt Act number 70 on April 30, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that defendant Henley was increasing victim taxes to $3,500. Overt Act No. 71 on April 9, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that other individuals was paying the Big U Enterprise $2,500 to $3,000 so that defendant Henley could purchase SH a $30,000 necklace. On April 30th, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that defendant Henley wanted to collect $2,000 from victim 1 every Monday. Overt Act No. 73 on April 16th, 2022, defendant Henley told victim 1 that he needed a donation for SH birthday. Overt Act No. 74 on July 5th, 2022, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley and Robinson demanded that victim 1 stop doing business with Wack100 because Wack100 was suspected to be an informant. So there go Wack100 name. So say on April 16, 2022, defendant Henley told victim 1 that he needed a donation for SH. I guess SH, that's his wife. You know what I'm saying? On June 5th, 2022, to intimidate victim, defendant Henley and Robinson demanded victim 1 stop doing business with Wack100 because Wack100 suspected to be an informant. So Big U saying right here, Wack100 is an informant. I don't know if this got anything to do with they beef, about them beefing and stuff like that, to where Big U was just like, man, stop dealing with that dude in or hating. So it looked like Wack was dealing with this CI in or this dude who's telling as well. So that's probably how Wack was been up on game about a lot of stuff. Overt Act No. 75 on June 22nd, 2022, defendant Robinson called victim 1 and demanded money because defendant Henley had demanded it. Overt Act No. 76 on June 22, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley told victim 1 that defendant Henley had been asking defendant Robinson if the Big U Enterprise needed to do a takeover, or victim 1 referring to the previous takeover robbery of victims 1 dispensary after victim 1 stopped paying Big U Enterprises extortion fee. So it looked like right there, you know what I'm saying, Big U kept on trying different tactics, allegedly trying to squeeze this dude out of money. You know what I'm saying, I don't know if he was going for it. It looked like, you know what I'm saying, that he was kind of dragging his feet, probably by way of the feds. So Big U was coming with more tactics like, man, don't make me try this takeover. You know what I'm saying? Don't make me do this takeover again that I did the last time, you know what I'm saying, with Luce Cannon and them, you know what I'm saying? It's going to get bad. So, you know, it looked like, you know what I'm saying, there was a little bit tug of war going on, you know what I'm saying? I guarantee that was by way of the feds, you know what I'm saying? They was already in on it, you know what I'm saying, and playing these games trying to get Big U to jump out of character. Act No. 77 on June 22nd, 2022, to intimidate victim, defendant Henley told victim that when Big U Enterprise members spent time with defendant Henley, it was necessary to carry a firearm. Overt Act 78 on July 9, 2022, to intimidate victim, defendant Henley told victim 1 that defendant Henley had seen Wack100 with his wife and daughter, and there was 15 to 20 niggas with us with hoodies tied down. I got my hoodie on, all black, tied down. She like, boom. She jumped in the car, paid for UI, and then took off. Boom. This nigga screaming, my wife draws. I see you, Eugene. I see you, Eugene Henley. I see you. He's screaming all that. He's got he's got his blower out, but he fucking up because nobody around. We like, bitch ass nigga. I'm like, yeah, bitch ass nigga. He like, die here, man. Don't do this. My wife, my kids in the car, draws. Don't do this. He's screaming. So this is the situation. You know what I'm saying? This is the situation, but they going by way of what Big U said. So a lot of stuff, it look like they gaining. Some stuff they have, and some stuff is over these Title 15, wiretap phone calls with him giving information out in or things that happen from his perspective. So that's the Wack 100 situation. On July 9th, 2022, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley threatened victim 1, we got to rob someone. You with that bullshit. Over Act number 80. On July 14, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that defendant Henley was angry with victim 1 and demanded $2,000 from victim 1. Overt Act number 81. On July 21, 2022, defendant Henley demanded money from victim 1 and stated that he needed the money for taxes and the Employment Development Department. Overt Act Note 82. On July 31st, 2022, defendant Henley told victim 1 that defendant Henley needed $30,000 to pay his development option staff and was considered a robbery, and considering a robbery and increasing extortion to obtain the fraud, saying that defendant Henley did not care if they had to pay Peter to pay Paul. They needed to get down. They needed to get it done, basically. So y'all see, this is just some more of the same extortion tactics, allegedly, of him going at victim number 1 that had the marijuana dispensary. And I think that's okay to say that this is this Dale guy, you know what I'm saying? No, matter of fact, excuse me. No, this might be the Dale guy because he's coinciding with the club and these marijuana dispensaries. But we're going to go through this paperwork and we're going to find out. And what is wrong, we're going to correct. Overt Act No 83. On July 31st, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Henley $1,000 extortion payment after defendant Henley told victim that we bumped the weekly down to $1,500. On August 4th, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that victim 1 needed to pay defendant Henley and Robinson. On August 9th, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Henley $15 extortion payment. On September 7th, 2022, defendant Robinson told defendant 1 that victim 1 needed to pay, but explained how victim 1 could get more time to pay. On September 5th, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Henley Robinson a $2,000 extortion payment. On September 15th, 2022, when victim 1 asked why victim 1 and others were still paying extortion fees to Big U Enterprises, defendant Robinson explained that when defendant Henley got out, he said, "I'm the toughest nigga, and here my body of work to prove it. And you know I'm the only nigga still killing niggas today. You niggas retired. I didn't. They understand that." On September 21, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson $1,000 extortion payment. Now that is the wrong thing. So this is why a lot of people in are saying that Big U told on himself in, or you know what I'm saying, they're rating his brain capacity and movement and things he was doing as stupidity, because like I said, a lot of people is not going to say things if they know that they're being recorded. But if you're not going to be recorded, a lot of people going to show their ass. And it's like he was saying some crazy stuff, like, you know what I'm saying, talking about he's still unaliving people and you dudes, you know what I'm saying, not. And that's why people know what's up. And like, man, I ain't going to lie, when I caught my federal case, man, the way that these dudes was talking over these phone calls, you would have fell out with a lot of these dudes and not been some of these dudes' friends, because dudes do not have no, what's the word I'm looking for? They naked, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no clothing, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing sugar-coated, you know what I'm saying? They gonna air it out about how they really feel. September 28, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson a $2,000 extortion payment. On October 2nd, 2022, victim 1, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that if defendant Robinson was not serving a middleman for victim 1 between victim 1 and defendant Henley, it would be very, very bad for victim 1. On October 2nd, 2022, defendant Robinson stated that two people owed the Big U Enterprises $200,000, but defendant Robinson had not yet threatened them with violence. On October 5th, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson a $2,000 extortion payment. On October 21st, 2022, defendant Henley chastised victim 1 because an acquaintance of victim 1 had used defendant Henley's name in the statute of Big U Enterprises to increase his reputation in the community. On October 21st, 2022, defendant Henley demanded that victim 1 pay defendant Henley for victim's acquaintance using defendant Henley's name in the statute of Big U Enterprises to increase his reputation in the community. On October 21st, 2022, when victim 1 asked how to get his acquaintance to pay for using defendant Henley's name in the statute of Big U Enterprises to increase his reputation in the community, defendant Henley suggested that victim 1 tie up the acquaintance to get the money. So right here, it looked like that somebody, you know what I'm saying, was out in public flaunting Big U name around in or using his name, you know what I'm saying, to have their way in or get a pass and not have something happen to them. It looked like this got back to Big U. Big U allegedly started putting the squeeze down. My name being used, you know what I'm saying, we got to increase them payments. What's the deal? On October 2nd, 2022, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Henley told victim 1 that defendant Henley and Robinson would be attending an after party at a club that victim 1 was promoting, that a pat down is out because defendant Henley would be in attendance, implying that defendant Henley was armed. So I guess exactly this is the Dale guy. So I guess this is him at Deja Vu. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get to that as well. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what happened at Deja Vu. If y'all ain't heard, you know what I'm saying, we're going to break that down, you know what I'm saying, pertaining to Big U party and stuff like that. So it looked like he had a lot going on with this Dale dude. And allegedly this Dale dude was getting shook down a lot. You know what I'm saying? On November 3rd, 2022, on an intercepted call discussing victim 1, defendant Henley told defendant Robinson that victim 1 wasted our name and they needed to fix that motherfucker up and get our money. On November 10th, 2022, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson a $2,000 extortion payment. On November 10th, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 not to answer victim 1's phone if defendant Henley called victim 1 because defendant Henley was demanding $5,000 from victim 1. On December 1st, 2021, victim paid defendant Robinson a $2,000 extortion payment. On December 1st, 2022, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that defendant Robinson was taking 25 to 50% of the payment from victim 1, depending on how much the extortion payment was. On December 1st, 2022, to intimidate victim 1, defendant Robinson told victim 1 that defendant Henley accused defendant Robinson of getting soft with victim 1 and that defendant Henley was going to fuck up victim 1. On December 7th, 2022, defendant Henley told victim 1 that he owed defendant Henley a lot of money and to bring defendant Henley $2,000 a week. On February 7th, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told defendant Robinson that he was going to break victim 1's jaw. On February 14th, 2023, on an intercepted call as part of extortion scheme, defendant Robinson told defendant Henley that defendant Robinson told Jew Boy that he owed the Big U Enterprises money, that they would allow a payment plan, but if he did not pay, they were going to shut this motherfucker down. On February 15th, 2023, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson a $500 extortion payment. On March 29th, 2023, victim 1 paid defendant Robinson a $15,000 extortion payment. On March 29th, 2023, Robinson told victim that defendant Robinson was only going to give $1,000 of the $15,000 extortion payment to defendant Henley. On April 11, 2023, on an intercepting call, defendant Henley and Blanton discussed an individual whom that... All right, so we backing off into this. With whom Big U Enterprises was planning to rob in the near future. Overt Act 111. On April 17, 2023, on an intercepted call as part of an extortion scheme, defendant Henley directed an individual to deliver a message to another marijuana dispensary owner that defendant Henley said, fuck him, and that he fucked up with the wrong guy. We gonna stop it right there. You know what I'm saying? So that's the end of that. So y'all see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? This is the dude Dale. It looked like Wack100 had dealings with him amongst a few other people. You know what I'm saying? So allegedly from this paperwork right here, Big U was putting a big squeeze down on him. You know what I'm saying? Now he working with those federales and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to conclude this part of the paperwork there. Again, that's 18 to 28. You know what I'm saying? That I read. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Young and Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead, like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing. And press that button. And if you ring that notification bell, I'm going to bring you mail.
Be acting like they own shit over there, my nigga. You feel me? Like, nigga, you don't own nothing over there, though, bro. Nigga, get to the hood. Nigga ain't got, nigga, we hand in front of somebody else's house. If you don't knock it off, nigga, I'm finna go in the house, go, nigga, take my shoes off, nigga, turn on YouTube, make me some content, and stay out you niggas' way. Because it be 10 niggas on the block with one strap. You feel me? I got my own strap. You feel me? I ain't passing shit on. And I ain't put my life in another nigga hands. So the fix all that, right? I'm just stay my monkey ass in the house. And, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And there's so much niggas telling out here nowadays. You don't know who's snitching. You feel me? You got a strap on you. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you got Crash, the FBI, the National Guards pulling out, going straight to you. But you want a nigga to come to the hood.